So today we are going to talk about middlewares in Nest, and I'll start by writing some code. So let's start by let's give you a little bit of introduction of what middlewares are, in case you're coming or in case you're not aware of what middlewares are. Basically, whenever a request comes in to one of these controllers here, so these functions are called route handlers. This is handling the route API/user ID. Before the flow of control comes to these handlers, if let's say you want to do something with the request, right? You want to transform the request, or let's say the request has a user ID and you want to populate the user object on the request itself. So for such scenarios, you would use a middleware. Or to give you another scenario, let's say you wanted to log out the get request, or you wanted to log out the body of a post request, right? Before it hits the route handler, you can use a middleware, right? So let me start by writing some code. So I'm going to create a folder called middlewares. This folder is going to have all my middlewares that I'm going to write, and middlewares are basically, they can be of two types. They can be function middlewares or a class middleware. We'll start with a class based middleware. So let's write a get logger middleware, and the way you write it is you will say export class get logger is it called nest middleware? Let's just see what it's called. Let's go here, let's look for middlewares. Right, let's see. Implements a nest middleware, which comes from nestjs common nest middleware. Right, and then if you want to implement this, you need to, it's an interface, so you need to implement it, and then you need to implement this interface, which means you basically need to use this method called use. Now use has the request context, the response context, and the next. I'm not going to use callback style middleware. Okay, and we'll have to import this from Express. I think this is also, we'll basically process anything that we want to process in this middleware, and then we'll call next. And what this next does is it will call the next middleware in the chain of middlewares. So like I said, you can have multiple middlewares, and the request flows from one middleware to the other. So let's do something here. Console log, let's say URL is request.url. So we are just going to print the URL that that the browser was trying to reach, and then we are going to call next. Let's use this middleware here, app controller ts, or sorry, we need to apply this middleware. Applying is basically means attaching this middleware in the request flow. So to do that, you have to go to app module ts. So to use the middleware, you will call implements nest module, and once you write that nest module, basically if you implement nest module, you have to implement the functions defined in this interface, and the one function that you need to implement is called configure. Now configure takes in consumer, and so we can do consumer.apply, and this is the place where you can apply all the middlewares. As you can see in the description, it says that this will be an array of middleware. So for now we only have one, get logger middleware dot, and then you can tell nestjs as to what routes do you want to apply this middleware on. So we want to apply this on let's apply this on this path, get/hello. Okay, so then the path is API/hello, and let's see, and the method is request method dot get, since it's a get request, and that's it. So whenever you call API / hello, this middleware gets called, right? And once this middleware has done, has printed out the request URL in this case, it goes on to call this function get hello and then returns this message. So let's try to run this. Have a get request API / hello. If we send it, sends hello world, but if you look at the console, it actually prints out the URL. Okay, we are going to write one more middleware. Let's call it post logger, right? And let's just copy this entire thing from here to here. The only difference is that this middleware is going to print the JSON body. Okay, and we are going to apply this middleware in app module, and then we can say consumer dot apply post. Okay, we did not rename this class, so post logger middleware dot for routes, and we want to apply it for what route? So path is API / let's see, do we have a post request? Yes, we have a post request here. So the path is basically just API here. So it's API, and method is request method dot post, request method dot post. Okay, let's format it and let's run it now. So now you have a post request. This is the body. Send it. Cannot post to API hello because the route is just API, and we get the body of the request here, name as nestjs. So there's one small thing that you can do, which is you can define an index.ts file, and this is called barreling. So let me first tell you what I'm trying to do here. So if you look into your app module, you will see that we imported post logger middleware from this file and get logger middleware from this file. So anytime I define the middleware, I have to again mention this whole path where the middleware belongs. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is that I want to remove both of them, and I want to import it from so basically I just want to mention which folder this middleware is present in, and I want Nest to figure out the file name itself. How do you do that? So to do that, you need to go to that folder and you need to define a file called index.ts, and this is actually called barreling, and then you define everything that you want to export from this folder. So export star from /get logger middleware, and then post logger middleware, and of course from is missing. If you do that, now if you look inside app module.ts, you will see that this is fine, and we can actually import it from the folder in which they're defined. Everything runs fine. You make these calls and you will see all of these working as expected. So yeah, that's it for today. Let's catch up on the next one.